She commanded armies. She ruled empires. She rewrote the rules in a world dominated by men. Long before modern feminism, these women rose from dust and fire to shape history with nothing but their will, their minds, and their power. They weren't just queens. They were warriors, strategists, icons, and they didn't just survive history. They dominated it. For thousands of years, power was seen as a man's domain. But even in ancient times, some women defied the odds, rising to lead kingdoms, command armies, and make decisions that changed the course of civilizations. Their stories are often buried beneath myth, politics, or outright erasure. But their legacies remain carved in stone, recorded in scrolls, and whispered through centuries. Today, we uncover the top 5 most powerful women in ancient history, based not just on status, but on real influence, strategic genius, and the ability to bend entire empires to their will. This isn't just about royalty. It's about dominance and the world-changing women behind it. Cleopatra, 7, the strategist queen. Not just a beauty, not just a lover of powerful men. Cleopatra, the 7th of Egypt, was a political mastermind. Born in 69 BCE, Cleopatra inherited a kingdom in decline. Egypt was rich but unstable, and under the looming shadow of Rome. But Cleopatra didn't flinch. She ruled not with brute force, but with brilliance. Fluent in several languages and deeply educated, she was the first of her dynasty to even speak Egyptian. She understood politics better than her Roman counterparts, and used charm, alliance, and strategy as her weapons. She aligned herself with Julius Caesar, and later with Mark Antony, not as a submissive partner, but as an equal in power. With Caesar, she secured her throne and gave birth to Caesarion, who she positioned as Caesar's rightful heir. With Antony, she imagined a new empire, Roman-Egyptian, united under her lineage. But the world wasn't ready. Rome turned against her, and yet even in defeat, Cleopatra chose her own ending, denying her enemies the satisfaction of a public parade. Her suicide wasn't surrender. It was control. She was the last pharaoh, and the first to prove that intellect could rule stronger than iron. Wu Zetian, the empress who ruled China. In a culture that forbade women from ruling, Wu Zetian didn't just rise, she conquered. Born in 624 CE during the Tang dynasty, Wu entered the royal court as a concubine. But she refused to stay in the shadows. Through political skill, intelligence, and ruthless maneuvering, she ascended to power, becoming the only woman in Chinese history to rule as emperor in her own right. Not empress. Emperor. She rebranded the dynasty under her own Zhou name and ruled China with an iron will. Wu strengthened education, expanded the civil service, and reformed agriculture. She favored merit over birthright and opened doors for talent from lower classes. Revolutionary moves in a rigid society. Her reign was marked by surveillance and control, but also by stability and growth. She outlived rivals, silenced critics, and maintained absolute authority in a world designed to exclude her. And when her rule finally ended, China couldn't ignore her legacy. She had shattered the ultimate glass ceiling and rebuilt the empire beneath it. Boudica, the warrior queen who defied Rome. Some ruled through courts, others through conquest. Boudica chose war. Around 60 CE, in Roman-occupied Britain, Boudica was queen of the Iceni tribe. After her husband's death, Roman officials ignored the tribe's autonomy. They flogged Boudica, assaulted her daughters, and assumed she would submit. They were wrong. Boudica rallied tribes across Britain, united by rage and a thirst for justice. She led a massive uprising, burning Roman cities to the ground, London, Colchester, and more. She struck fear into the heart of the Roman Empire. Her forces killed tens of thousands, and for a brief, terrifying moment, it looked like Rome might lose Britain entirely. But Rome responded with overwhelming military precision. In the end, Boudica's forces were defeated, but her legend lived on. To the Romans, she was a barbarian rebel. To the British, she became a national heroine. To history, she proved that rage, when righteous, can shake empires. Hatshepsut, the pharaoh who rewrote power. Centuries before Cleopatra, another woman took Egypt's throne, not as queen, but as pharaoh. Hatshepsut ruled during the 15th century BCE. She wasn't supposed to lead. Her stepson, Thutmose III, was the rightful king, but he was just a child, and Egypt needed strength. Hatshepsut stepped in and never stepped down. She adopted full pharaonic titles, wore the ceremonial beard, commanded respect in temples and courts, and most importantly, she led Egypt into an era of peace, prosperity, and monumental architecture. She launched trade expeditions, brought wealth to the kingdom, and oversaw the construction of temples that still stand today. Her mortuary temple at Deir el-Bahari is one of the great wonders of Egyptian architecture. And yet, after her death, efforts were made to erase her legacy. Her statues were smashed, her name removed from records, but history remembered. And today, Hatshepsut is seen not as a placeholder, but as one of Egypt's most successful pharaohs. She didn't inherit power, she embodied it. Artemisia I, the sea queen of Halicarnassus. While the others ruled on land, Artemisia I ruled the sea. In the 5th century BCE, during the Greco-Persian Wars, Artemisia commanded ships under King Xerxes of Persia. She was the only woman among his naval commanders, and she quickly stood out. At the Battle of Salamis, she disobeyed orders and survived. While Xerxes' fleet was in chaos, Artemisia maneuvered with precision, evading traps, saving her fleet, and earning Xerxes' admiration. He reportedly said, "My men have become women, and my women men." She advised kings, commanded fleets, fought with tactical brilliance, and earned respect in a world that doubted her from the start. While often overlooked, Artemisia proves that leadership isn't limited to crowns and courts. Sometimes it sails through fire and war. They were strategists. They were visionaries. They were rulers, warriors, and queens in a world that told them to stay silent. These women weren't exceptions. They were examples of what happens when brilliance meets boldness and when determination burns brighter than tradition. Subscribe for more untold histories, ancient secrets, and forgotten legends brought back to life with voice, image, and fire. Because behind every empire, there's a name that dared to rise, and these 5 women rose higher than most ever dared to dream.